Today our topic is why Stoics emphasized virtue over success. The ancient Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, believed that the most important thing in life is not wealth, fame, or power, but virtue. Virtue means being a good person, living with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. The Stoics taught that these qualities are the key to a meaningful and happy life. They believe that success, as most people think of it, is not in our control. You can work hard and still fail. You can be talented and still lose. But virtue is different. Virtue is always in your control. No one can take it away from you. This is why the Stoics focused on virtue instead of success. They knew that external things like money, status, and even health can come and go, but your character, your virtue, is something you can always rely on. Let me explain this idea in more detail. First, the Stoics believed that external success is not reliable. Think about it. You can do everything right and still not achieve your goals. For example, you might study hard for a test, but on the day of the exam, you get sick and perform poorly. Or you might work for years to build a business, but because of bad luck or a bad economy, it fails. The Stoics would say that these things are not completely in your control. You can do your best, but you cannot control the outcome. This is why they said that focusing on success like getting rich or famous is a mistake. If your happiness depends on things you cannot control, you will always be disappointed. Instead, the Stoics said, focus on what you can control, your own actions, your own thoughts, and your own character. This is where virtue comes in. Virtue, for the Stoics, is about living in harmony with nature and reason. They believe that humans are rational beings, and that our purpose in life is to use our reason to live well. Living well means being wise, brave, just, and disciplined. These are the four cardinal virtues of Stoicism. Wisdom is about understanding what is truly important in life and making good decisions. Courage is about facing challenges and difficulties with strength and calmness. Justice is about treating others fairly and doing what is right. Self-control is about managing your desires and emotions so that they do not control you. The Stoics believed that if you live by these virtues, you will have a good life, no matter what happens to you externally. Let's take an example. Imagine two people. One is very successful in their career, but they are greedy, dishonest, and selfish. The other person is not successful in their career, but they are kind, honest, and generous. Who do you think has a better life? The Stoics would say the second person because they have virtue. Even if they are not rich or famous, they are living in a way that is true to their values. They are at peace with themselves, and they are making the world a better place. The first person, on the other hand, might have money and power, but they are not truly happy. They are always wanting more, and they are not living in harmony with their own reason and nature. This is why the Stoics said that virtue is more important than success. Another reason the Stoics emphasized virtue over success is that success can be taken away, but virtue cannot. Think about how fragile success is. You can lose your job, your money, your reputation, or even your health in an instant. These things are not in your control. But your character, your virtue, is something no one can take away from you. Even if you lose everything, you can still be a good person. You can still act with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. This is why the Stoics said that virtue is the only true good. It is the only thing that is completely in your control, and that can never be taken away. The Stoics also believed that focusing on virtue helps you deal with failure and hardship. If your goal is to be virtuous, then even when things go wrong, you can still feel good about yourself. For example, if you lose a competition, you can say, I did my best and I acted with integrity. That is what matters. Or if you face a difficult situation, you can say, I will face this with courage and wisdom. This mindset helps you stay strong and resilient, no matter what happens. On the other hand, If your goal is success, then every failure will feel like a disaster. You will be constantly worried about losing what you have, and you will be unhappy when things don't go your way. The Stoics wanted to avoid this kind of stress and anxiety, so they focused on virtue instead. The Stoics also believed that virtue leads to true happiness. They did not think that happiness comes from external things like money or fame. Instead, they believed that happiness comes from living a good life, a life of virtue. When you live with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control, you are in harmony with yourself and the world. You are not constantly chasing after things that you cannot control. You are not worried about what other people think of you. You are at peace because you know that you are living in the right way. This is the kind of happiness that the Stoics valued. It is not the temporary happiness that comes from getting what you want, but the deep and lasting happiness that comes from being a good person. Now you might be thinking, but isn't it good to want success? Isn't it natural to want to achieve things? The Stoics would say that it is not wrong to want success, but it is important to keep it in perspective. Success is not the most important thing in life. It is not what gives your life meaning. What gives your life meaning is how you live, how you treat others, how you face challenges, and how you grow as a person. This is what the Stoics meant when they said that virtue is more important than success. They were not saying that you should not try to achieve your goals. They were saying that your goals should not be your main focus. Your main focus should be on being a good person, no matter what happens. In conclusion, the Stoics emphasized virtue over success because they believed that virtue is the key to a meaningful and happy life. Success is not in our control, but virtue is. Virtue is about living with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. It is about being a good person, no matter what happens to you externally. The Stoics believe that if you focus on virtue, you will be strong, resilient, and at peace, even in the face of failure and hardship. You will not be constantly chasing after things that you cannot control. Instead, you will be living in harmony with your own reason and nature. This is why the Stoics said that virtue is the only true good. It is the only thing that can never be taken away from you, and the only thing that can give you true happiness. So, if you want to live a good life, follow the Stoic path. Focus on virtue, not success.